Business Secretary joining us now. Good morning, Mr. Reynolds. How are you planning to kickstart the economy?
Good morning. Well, look, what you'll hear from the Chancellor today is that the government's plan for change is about that ambition to improve living standards in every part of the UK, and specifically the kind of decisions everyone knows the UK has needed to make on some key infrastructure projects for a long time, that other governments haven't been able to deliver upon. This government's got the determination, it's got the resolve to make the difference and to make them happen, and that we do not accept the kind of tepid national decline of the last few years. We are ambitious for the future. We're going to make it happen. Some specifics from the Chancellor that she will announce, but a real sense, I believe, of optimism, dynamism about the future of the British economy and the living standards of everyone in the UK.
Further, faster, green shoots, kickstart the economy, rather change the tone from we're all going to hell in a handcart. How are you going to measure success?
Well, we'll measure success if people are better off, if their real disposable income is better. I mean, I feel, Kay, I'm always a pretty optimistic person when I talk to you on this morning round. But look, there are things that we should be optimistic about. Wages are rising, inflation's coming down, business investment's actually at a 19-year high. We have had our growth forecast for this year revised upwards. We're going to be the fastest growing major European economy for the next 2 years. But we want more. It's not enough. We've got to be ambitious for the future. The world is a competitive one, and what's happening in the US is all part of that as well. And I believe if people can see there's a government that's willing to tackle difficult things, deliver on things that have been too difficult in the past, that generates in itself the kind of optimism, dynamism that we need.
The thing that's growing fast is our population, up 7.3% projected to be by 2032. When will we see these first infrastructure projects coming to fruition?
Well, they depend on which they are. Housing is relatively easy to deliver than some of the big rail and other announcements that might be part of the Chancellor's speech today. But look, the kind of thing you're talking about, the pressures that we face as a country. By the way, immigration's got to come down, but I think that still allows for a greater degree of highly skilled people coming in the sectors that we need, as we always would expect. It means the agenda the government's got, it's even more important. We've got to go further and faster on it. What really counts is not just how big your economy is based on population growth, but how big it is per person, per capita, what that really means for living standards. And that is what the government is committed to. We want real household disposable income for everyone in the country to be growing.
That was a better body swerve than the Wigan Rugby League front row. You almost said Heathrow, and then you stopped yourself.
Well, look, I'm not going to preempt what my colleague, the Chancellor, will say, but there's a whole part of what this country needs to do that hasn't been done in the past. I mean, look, I'm in Oxfordshire today, right? A brilliant, dynamic part of the UK economy. Biggest thing holding back what we need to happen in this part of the world is water infrastructure, right? We haven't built a reservoir since 1992. I just don't accept that we can't tackle these issues. I don't accept we've got to go on as we have done. I think we were elected to deliver upon change. That's what my constituents and people around the UK told me. We are going to do that. And part of that is the set of announcements, the determination, the resolve that will be on display from the Chancellor today.
Can your drive for growth be compatible with your net zero plans?
Yes, absolutely.
How?
I mean, the big growth opportunity around the world is in climate, look, the fact that we've had as a country, I think, 3 times the level of inward investment into renewable energy than any comparable European nation. So the two things go hand in hand. If we weren't ambitious on climate, we'd be missing out on growth. And equally, if we haven't got a strong economy, it becomes harder to tackle those things. So I do think the two things go hand in hand together. I think we've got some things in the UK, particularly around offshore energy potential, that other countries don't have. And it means it's so important to keep those two things together. And the whole cabinet supports that and is right behind that agenda. If I was not ambitious on climate, I wouldn't be ambitious as a business secretary for the economy, for trade, for growth in every part of the UK.
How much public money is going into the development of the Old Trafford site?
Well, look, the key thing that we're announcing today is the resolve of the government to work with the Mayor, Andy Burnham, to make that happen. The kind of things we're interested in as a government is obviously not the sporting side of that, but the housing, the infrastructure, the things that will enable that. It will contribute to our housing target in particular. But again, what we've been short of in the UK, and look, there's a whole range of financial tools from this new government, like the National Wealth Fund, to work with the private sector on these projects. The real thing that's been missing is resolve, is political will, is a desire to get these things done, to say, look, we're listening to different voices on this, but fundamentally, we are the elected government, we've got a mandate, we're going to deliver upon that. I genuinely worry, Kay, that people are losing faith that governments around the world can deliver on the things that will make a difference to them. That's what we've got to show. And what you again will hear from the Chancellor is that unequivocal commitment that we can do the things that will make everyone in this country better off, make a real difference to them.
And in answer to my question?
Look, I don't think there's a specific sum of money in terms of those plans around it, but we stand ready as a government with the financial tools available to partner with the private sector to deliver the kind of regeneration opportunities that we're looking to deliver upon in every part of the UK.
So you will spend public money on the redevelopment of Old Trafford site?
We are willing to partner with the private sector, with the Mayor, to deliver the kind of changes. That's not to, as I say, any kind of sporting element to it, but in kinds of, often it's about infrastructure, it's about transport infrastructure that enables that private money to come in and do the kind of things that we want to see to deliver upon our housing targets. The same as we would be interested in doing in any part of the country. So look, what we are saying is we're going to give the green light to the Mayor to work with him to deliver on a project of this kind. And the plans, I think, are very exciting for that area. I think it'll make a massive difference to the whole country, not just to Greater Manchester itself. But what we lack is political will. And this government is going to change that. It's going to deliver on that plan for change.
Are you content with some councils saying that they could increase council tax by 25%?
I've not been made aware that any council is proposing doing that. I recognise from my own local authority just how challenging things were under the Conservative years, but there was a little bit of extra help, more relief in the budget for local authorities to deliver that. I don't know any councillor who doesn't want to keep council tax as low as possible. It's a terrible situation they faced in terms of core funding for services over the last decade and a half. But I think every local councillor, whatever political party they're from, to be honest, is always conscious of the burden of council tax on households in their area. And I think they'd be very much have that in mind when they set those council tax rates.
Windsor are considering increasing their council tax by 25% to try to avoid financial collapse. Additionally, Birmingham and some other councils also considering increasing theirs, but not necessarily by 25%. But certainly Windsor say that they're on the verge of issuing a Section 114 notice.
Well, look, I'd be conscious of the fact that I'm not part of Windsor Council and don't know their specifics, but it is true to say councils, whatever their political colour, in the last decade and a half, we've seen an incredible increase in their financial vulnerability, for these Section 114 notices when they face severe financial distress, and that is of huge concern. But it comes back to the fact that if core services aren't being funded, they've built up debt, they've built up problems in that area. That's why the Chancellor had relief for councils in the last budget.
But a thought, surely, for the good people of Windsor?
I'd be incredibly concerned at the impact on any part of the country where people are facing that kind of rise. I'm not aware of what their existing council tax rates are in terms of what that increase would represent, but clearly it would be difficult for people. But again, that is why, to be frank, when it comes to councils, local government or the health service or education, we are only going to get the improvements that we need unless the economy is performing more strongly. What today is about is that resolve from the Chancellor. Those announcements are about a clear way forward to deliver on a change, not accepting the performance of the last decade and a half. And until we have that better, stronger performance, we can talk about councils, health service, the judicial system, prisons. The pressures are evident, but solving them requires a stronger economy. That's why the plan for change has growth at the heart of it.
OK, good luck today. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.